Soulographie is 17 plays being put together by 16 directors around the United States and including artists from Spain and Uganda. And it takes the point of view of perpetrators, witnesses, survivors, victims, by every access and by every medium in live performance that we're able to muster. We try to look where we've been instructed to look away. Soulographie or Soulographie, which jumped out at me from a poem by Jacques Prévert, and it means drunkenness in French. And in this poem, he's talking about, he was a World War II and post-World War II poet, and he was wondering about the condition of the earth, or the sobriety of the earth, and he wondered if the world is drunk with blood. And he seems to imply that no, it's not drunk with blood, it's sober with blood, that it knows something about itself. We're looking at drunkenness of this kind. And drunkenness is a metaphor that runs, or an image that runs through a lot of the plays. Drunkenness of this kind in particular, a dizzying self-awareness. Genocide is often described as something that's unspeakable, and it truly is. Maurice Blanchot talks about the disaster and how describing the disaster is as impossible as describing heaven. And he talks about the similarity of the shapes of creative chaos and absolute disaster, something that escapes language, like death. So we wanted to create an event that it would be impossible for anyone to get their head completely around. That even if you did sit through all 24 hours, and I'm looking forward to doing that myself, it'll be the first time in my life I've done it with these plays. They've never been performed in this way, and it's unlikely that we'll be able to perform them in this way again. But to stretch yourself out over 24 hours, at the end of it, you really won't be able to synthesize it all. Even if you go through the whole thing, you won't be able to put the whole thing together. There are times when either you'll nod off or trance out, or it'll elude you. The experience will elude you. So we wanted to create something that attempted to get around something unspeakable without discrediting us as witnesses by pretending to be able to speak the unspeakable. We want to create a situation for consideration. It's too hard. It's all too hard. It's daily too hard for some really remarkable theater artists from around the world right now. They're all working too hard on Soulographie. The scripts work too hard. You can see them sweat. You can smell the diesel coming off of them. The scripts are working too hard, but they should work too hard. And in fact, they should break down. The whole thing should have a wounded quality to it. And I've long wanted a kind of theater that pushed beyond its own limits, that was actually available to healing instead of something that was scarred over by the time it goes to the audience. Something needs to be fresh and unsolved and in need of collective meaning making. So we don't come out of the experience having made meaning. We come out of it empowered with the drive to make meaning now. So we don't come out of it having heard someone tell us their dream. We come out of it prepared to dream, hopefully. The language that I was born with and that I've worked on has an odd shape. What my language seems suited to is trauma. So I write these plays because they're the plays I am meant to write. It's what I can walk towards. I want to preface it first because it's an issue that gets misused or politicized. Child soldiers are very real and very tragic. This viral Coney video that went out came out of the best intentions and has actually had concrete political results. I mean, Uganda and a coalition of African countries are now determined to step up pursuit of Coney, which is a good thing. But it's also just an aspect of what's going on there. War is just an aspect of what's going on in that part of Africa. And child soldiers are just an aspect of war. But they're an important aspect, and they're an aspect that we take up in the play. And we try to take it up in Soulographie, or the set of plays. We try to take it up in a way that doesn't sentimentalize it, but looks at it, looks at the thing itself. Removing, ideally, even the finger that points, but is just the thing in itself. It's quite hard because it doesn't give you escape from the situation, but that's the aim. And yes, we met with child soldiers and we had interviews with them, and they were brutal, and they really pushed us to the edge of our own responsibility. We always interviewed them in the context of people who were working with them on an ongoing basis, so that as we brought these stories forward, we wanted to be sure not to be re-traumatizing them or capturing their story as a kind of bounty. It is wrong to call Africa a tragedy based on war centered on child soldiers. That's the wrong dramaturgy. Africa is more than one thing. It's more than a continent. It's a flower of many petals. It's a deeply complex place that requires a dramaturgy that is superior to catharsis. Let's feel bad about the flies at the eyes and then walk away. It's a rich, bountiful, evolving, complex leader in terms of knowledge creation and culture creation. So we need to follow Africa, and we need to avoid describing it in ways that make it the victim by the roadside. I don't put anything in a play that I haven't experienced directly, but the plays are not factual. They're not asked to carry the burden of description or explanation. They are expressionistic, I guess, if you wanted to use an ism kind of word on it. I don't place my own value in what I own. My person is not private property. So Simone Weil says the value of a person is that which in him or her is least personal. So I'm valuable not because I'm Eric, I'm valuable because I'm a human being. So the plays are not meant to draw attention to what I know or to what I feel. It's my effort at creating a common space. By putting what I've found out, that creates a moment or a location for people to come together and to consider what they've caught or got caught up in. I've never in my life asked for money for a play that I've been doing. But this isn't really a play, it's something else. It's an event of some kind. And it's an event that's taking me to my personal limits. It's the year of asking courageously for myself, that I'm going to be unapologetic about asking for what I need, because now is the time. So many things are coming together. It's only going to happen November 2012 at La Mama. So to that end, we have a benefit coming up on April 29th at the La Mama Galleria. And we have a website that a lot of people have had a hand in creating, and that's www.soulographie.org. And people can find us there, learn more about it, and figure out a way to enter into partnership with us. They're welcome to make a donation. But really, we want the world to have more space in it for the contemplation of the reality of genocide, not the fairy tale of genocide, but its reality. So if people can find that space within themselves, then really we've done something.